Welcome to this airing of candidate videos produced by League of Women Voters Bloomington with a special thank you to the City of Bloomington for the video production. League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan political organization that never endorses candidates or political parties. In these videos, you will hear from candidates for mayor and city council. Candidates will be speaking to you about their priorities for Bloomington and how they envision working within that position to which they are seeking to be elected.
Hi, my name is Tim Busse, and for the past 8 years I have had the honor and the pleasure of serving as Bloomington City Council member at large, and now I am very excited to be running for mayor. This is an important election, and I believe, and I hope you'll agree, that I'm the best candidate for this position. Here's why. First, effective and experienced leadership matters. A successful mayor needs to have a strong understanding of the operations of city government and also a strong connection with the people that he serves. After 8 years representing the entire city of Bloomington as a council member of large, I have that knowledge, I have that experience, and I have made those connections citywide. The role of mayor in Bloomington is a big job. A learn-as-you-go strategy is not a recipe for success in Minnesota's fourth largest city. Next, like most things in life, what you put into your community is pretty much proportional to what you get out of your community. That's why I've put in hundreds of hours on council-related activities, and that's why I'm also a volunteer at important community organizations like the Bloomington Chamber of Commerce, like Heritage Days, the League of Minnesota Cities, and the Isaac Walton League. You deserve a mayor who is active and who is involved and who has made long-standing commitment to the city of Bloomington. Third, you'll hear campaign promises on a variety of issues, but the difference is other candidates will tell you what they hope they can do. I will tell you what we've accomplished in my 8 years on the Bloomington City Council. On the always important topic of public safety, I am proud to say that Part 1 crimes in Bloomington, those are the serious crimes, they have decreased 19% since 2014. And Part 2 crimes, which are the less serious crimes, are down 32%. On financial issues, I can tell you that as an elected official, there is no job more important to me than the thoughtful and careful stewardship of Bloomington tax dollars. I firmly believe that dollar for dollar, Bloomington City services are an outstanding value for Bloomington residents. And again this year, Bloomington is among one of the few cities in the nation with 3 AAA bond ratings. That's an indication of an outstandingly run city. Bloomington residents love their parks and trails, and over the past several years, the council has directed funding specifically to park improvement programs within our neighborhood parks. About 25 of more than 90 neighborhood parks have seen improvements so far. And after being closed for 14 years, the old Cedar Avenue Bridge is open once again. Look for a ribbon-cutting ceremony later this summer or early in the fall. On the topic of transit and transportation, after years of hard work by the city and by our partners, Bloomington is finally seeing significant investment at the state and federal level on large projects. The 2 biggest, of course, being the 35W 494 project and the Orange Line Bus Rapid Transit Line. We've all heard a lot about the need for affordable housing in Bloomington, and I'm proud that in February, my council colleagues and I passed a comprehensive and innovative affordable housing ordinance here in the city of Bloomington that will set a wonderful framework for the future. On the environment, the council has identified environmental sustainability as a priority, and in 2016, we established the city's first Sustainability Commission. On the issue of outreach and engagement, the City Council is trying out new ways to connect with residents. The council is now hosting regular town hall forums, and the award-winning Bloomington Briefing is now a monthly publication. And finally, Bloomington is a great place to do business. 8 of 10 business owners said that Bloomington is an excellent or good place to do business, and about 85% give high marks to Bloomington's city services as they relate to business. So that's what we've accomplished as a city. But what about the future? Everybody I talk to thinks Bloomington is a great place to live, to work, to raise a family, but we all agree work needs to be done. Here are my priorities. We will invest in our neighborhoods. We will revitalize our neighborhood commercial nodes, and we will spur development along our major streets. I can't wait to get started on the Gateway Development District that we recently approved. We will make decisions on big community issues, like the community center and other amenities, and we will make those decisions as a community. We will continue to be thoughtful and careful with your tax dollars, and at the same time, we will continue to provide the outstanding services that residents and businesses have come to expect. We will strengthen and expand our solid and productive relationships with local organizations and nonprofits. We will actively prepare for and aggressively adapt to the demographic changes that are coming our way, and we will build on the strength of the vibrant diversity that we have here in Bloomington. And finally, Bloomington has a long history of being innovative and cutting edge. When I'm mayor, we will continue to seek out and take on creative and bold ideas. It makes Bloomington stronger now and in the future. For more information, I would invite you to visit my website at busseforbloomington.com. Please let me know what you think. Friends, I would truly appreciate your vote in the primary election on August 13th and in the general election on November 5th. Once again, my name is Tim Busse. I am running for mayor, and thank you for your time, and more importantly, thank you to the League of Women Voters for once again hosting these candidate videos.
Hello, friends and neighbors. My name is Sharon Christianson, and I am running for mayor of the city of Bloomington. I'm a lifelong resident of the Twin Cities, growing up in St. Paul. My values are the same as yours. There are key issues in this city that we all must need to work with. Fair housing, affordable housing, our roads, our parks, our environment. These are all real concerns that affect us on a daily basis. Our zip code should not define where we come from as a city. There is great disparity right now in the city, along with other cities in the state of Minnesota, with economics and race. We need to be more inclusive with what we are doing and bring our community together. If I am elected as your mayor, I will make the time to help you go through these things, forming citizen committees, working on issues, being transparent of what the city is actually doing, and accepting what you might say as your ideas. With this, I believe that we can come together as a city. There are many different issues that affect us, including what I just mentioned, but also we need to have a chance to elect officials that will work with the citizens and not be very much in the dark about what's happening. I appreciate your vote, and I look forward to being your next mayor. Thank you.
My name is Elena Einsmother. I'm running for mayor. I have a program to help the future in respect to the lakes in particular, that I would like to be able to close them and people can put their boat in, but they have to call an inspector. And it should be that way statewide. I'm against paving the bicycle trail because it just gets flooded anyway, and then there's the cost of fixing it. I also think we should have Airbnb in homes, but only if you live there and get your mail there. My background is 10 years with the Employment Service, an investigator and adjudicator, so I know how the bureaucracy works. I also drove for Uber for 2 years, so I know how people are and where to go. And I also think if we close the lakes, then there'll be no chance of zebra mussels hurting swimmers trying to get away from the heat that's coming in the future. I also think that the farm over here that the city didn't buy after all should be for local people to have their garden and vegetables with 10-foot high fencing and night guards alerted by motion lights. I also worked, when I was 54, took a job with a railroad doing the hard labor, and I was the only one out of 70 hired that lasted 6 years except for the son of a roadmaster. and I was accepted, even so I'm the only one with a college degree and master's work too. So I can identify with the working people. If they're sitting behind the computer, they're working harder than a railroad man because it's stressful. I also think that we should explore, if it's possible, but it should be done on a statewide basis eventually, but I'm gonna, and that's to close all the stores except for pharmacies at 6 o'clock Saturday evening until Monday. That way we save 1/7 of our costs of furnishing heat or air conditioning. So, I think that kind of covers it. But closing the lake is very important to me. I've talked to the guy in charge of the park at Bush Lake, and he told me things, but he said, I can't say anything, I'd lose my job. And I've talked to DNR people, I can't say anything, I'll lose my job. But I can. So I hope you see fit to vote for me.
Hi, I'm Ryan Kulka, and I am running for mayor in the city of Bloomington. And I wanted to take this opportunity to profess to everybody in Bloomington what my top priorities will be as mayor. But first, a little bit of background about myself. I am 35 years old, and I've spent my entire life in the city of Bloomington. My parents moved here and built a house here in 1986, and I've been here my entire life. I went to Normandale Hills Elementary, then Oak Grove, then Olson Middle, and I graduated in 2002 from Bloomington Jefferson High School. After that, I went on to study business, entrepreneurship, and financial management at the University of St. Thomas in St. Paul. And after graduation, I purchased my first home in Bloomington, right by Poplar Bridge Elementary School. So I love this city. I'm a lifelong citizen, and I genuinely care about what goes on here in Bloomington. I'm not a career politician. Like I said, I'm just a longtime citizen and business owner in the city of Bloomington that really cares about what happens here. As I mentioned, I do own a few different businesses, 2 of which actually reside within the city of Bloomington. And so I love this city enough that I've started business here, and I've set footholds for myself here as far as living. And I wanted to get to a couple main things that I will do as mayor that will be my priorities. And the first of which I think is the most important, and that's transparency. I have talked to a lot of people over the last few months about transparency and knowing about what issues are being debated at City Council and within the city and what those priorities are and what the statuses of these issues are. A lot of people feel like their voice isn't really heard as these issues are moving through the process, and I aim to change that by offering weekly office hours so everybody will know when they can come and see me and set up meetings every single week when I'm mayor. Also, I'm a big social media guy, and I'm addicted to email, so emails will definitely not go unresponded. Gone will be the days of sending emails to your mayor into the abyss. Number 2, in addition to transparency, is affordable living. This seems to be a topic that comes up with every conversation I have with the residents and citizens of Bloomington, is that housing, the cost of housing, the cost of living in the city is consistently going up. The first thing to talk about here is property taxes. Obviously, Bloomington property taxes continue to be high, 10 to 20% higher than the median property tax in the state of Minnesota, and there's a lot that we can do to bring those property taxes down. One of the things is making Bloomington more business friendly again, not having it be so regulated and restrictive for businesses to set footholds here and reside also in the city of Bloomington. The fact is, the more dollars that we can keep within our borders and allowing businesses to open up and provide entertainment and resources and utility for our residents and citizens, the more affordable living will be here as a byproduct. So affordable living, transparency, and the third one is financial management. I think there needs to be a higher level of financial responsibility with what goes on in the city, and as far as spending goes, what those priorities are and where our funds allocated. I feel like I'm the perfect person to do this based on my business background and entrepreneurial background. It's not easy to build businesses from the ground up, and you really have to be mindful of budgets because everything needs attention, not just one or two things at a time where you would want to spend a lot of money. You have to really be tactful and cerebral in figuring out what are the needs versus the wants and how much should be allocated between projects after projects. So transparency, financial responsibility, and affordable living are three of my top priorities that I will serve to better and enhance as mayor. And I thank you for giving me this time and listening. Also, I would like to encourage everybody to get out and vote. We do have a primary election for mayor, and voting closes on August 13th. Early voting has started, so please get to City Hall, cast your vote, and please vote for me as mayor of the city of Bloomington. Again, my name is Ryan Kulka, and thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Dan Gellick. I'm excited to be running for the opportunity to be your next mayor. My family and I live at the corner of 102nd and France, where my two kids, Maddie and Nick, soon to be Jefferson seniors, enjoy the close proximity to Jefferson High School. We greatly enjoy our neighborhood, and my wife and I over the past 3 years have been working with residents on the Winchester Pond Restoration Project, trying to make our pond a little less stinky and a lot more enjoyable, because we really enjoy the community that we live in. Over the past 27 years, I've been working in city government. I've worked at all levels of government, from frontline staff, management, and elected official. I've worked in numerous departments, including the planning department, the police department, regulatory services, licensing, economic development, and animal control. And during that time, the focus of my work has really about how do we bring residents, businesses, and city staff together to make great cities. And what I've seen in those 27 years is when you bring the right people to the table with the priorities that we identify as a community, we can create great results. Those results could be around affordable housing. Working with residents and businesses and city staff in Minneapolis, we created the City of Lakes Community Land Trust. In terms of safety, working with residents, businesses, police departments, we greatly improve the safety in the city of Minneapolis. So the focus for me is really how do we bring us all together? And that gets into the story of why I'm running for mayor. As I said before, my family and I really enjoy the city of Bloomington and living in Bloomington. One of the things that's struggling for me, at times I see our city struggling working together, and that's why I'm looking to run for the city of Bloomington's mayor. I want to look at how we can work better together, because I know as a city we can and must do better. As a city, if we want to have the future that we're looking to achieve. And so with that, my priorities are, one is we're going to be a community engaged city, where as a city, we are working with residents on a regular basis. City staff are working directly with community members on issues important to communities. Looking at creating neighborhood groups again, where neighbors can talk together about the issues that are important to them. So the first priority is making sure our government is really community oriented and community engagement is a priority. From there, we're going to work on our priorities of safety, affordability, sustainability, and equity. In terms of safety, priority one for any government is making sure not only our neighborhoods and parks are safe, but also our streets. We need to work together to make sure we have the safest city. In terms of affordability is not just affordable housing, but it's also living wage jobs. By bringing people together, we can really focus on great strategies of increasing the number of living wage jobs in our community, but also affordable housing, not only for new people, but also those who are in their current house and want to be able to stay in their housing. And then there's sustainability. As we all know, the cost as well as the benefits in terms of being a sustainable city, both economically and environmentally. Economically, we need to make sure we have a diverse economy that offers a lot of living wage jobs, and not just lower wage jobs, but also living wage jobs. We also need to work environmentally. Health-wise and finance-wise, we know that environmentally safe city is going to be a stronger city. Dealing with water quality, air quality, we need to be sustainable if we're going to be around for the future. And the last one is equitable. Everybody should share in the opportunities of Bloomington. We are a great city with many opportunities available to us. And with that, we need to look at ways to make sure everybody's sharing in that our workforce, as well as the efforts we do, reflect all of our communities. So as we're working together, the other thing that's important for you as a resident, as a business owner, is to ensure you are getting the services you're looking for from your city that's working with you. With that, we need to be transparent. We should have a city dashboard which identifies our priorities, indicates what our performance measures are, and then on a regular basis, updating how we're doing. So you know how your tax dollars are being spent, you're making sure they're being spent in the right way, and we are building the city you are looking for. So as your mayor, my goal will make sure that we bring residents, businesses, and city staff together to work together around the issues of safety, affordability, sustainability, and equity. And together, we can really build the city that we're looking for the future. Because together, Bloomington works. Thank you for your time.
Hi everyone, my name is Jenna Carter and I am thrilled to be running for the Bloomington City Council at-large seat. First, I want to take a minute to thank the League of Women Voters Bloomington for everything you do to increase civic engagement in our community and for providing candidates and voters alike the opportunity to learn more about the candidates running for office. So I live in Bloomington with my husband Mike and our 2 kids, Dylan, who is 8 and goes to Washburn, and then my daughter Evelyn, who just turned 5 and will be attending Hillcrest this year. So as way of background, I grew up a military brat. Both of my parents were active duty the majority of my childhood. I then eventually found myself at the University of Minnesota, where I graduated with a master's degree in public health. So for the past 10 years, I have been working with communities across our state to really ensure that everybody living here has the opportunity to live healthy and well. And I've done that through relationship building, deep community engagement, creating partnerships across sectors, and really building bridges across differences so that we can create common good solutions. And as a Bloomington resident, I serve on the board of directors for VEEP, which is one of our local nonprofits that focuses on hunger relief and housing stability, as well as the Bloomington Housing Coalition, and then I volunteer in our school district. And what I can say wholeheartedly is that I believe that Bloomington is the best city to live in. We have tremendous assets and resources, engaged residents, a beautiful and growing diverse community. I would argue the best police and fire departments in the state or even the region, a thriving business community, and then a school district that is within our city boundaries, which gives us a very unique opportunity to serve the youth of Bloomington. And although I say that Bloomington is absolutely the best city to live in, and I do believe that, I also believe wholeheartedly that we can be even better. In my conversations that I've been having with people across our city, I've knocked on hundreds of doors, and in my experience volunteering, we have some issues that are facing us. We have increasing numbers of student homelessness in our school district, and we have families, veterans, seniors, students who are in college here who are really struggling. So this leads me to my 3 big priorities. First, I am absolutely committed to a community where every single person, every child being raised in Bloomington, has the opportunity to live healthy and well and thrive. And that means we need a strong public education system, but it also means we need dignified and affordable housing options for people across the income spectrum and across the lifespan. So whether it's families with young children or seniors that are trying to find affordable senior living. We also need to make sure that we have safe roads. Whether you are a driver or you need to take public transit or you bike or you're a parent who walks your child to school. We need to make sure that our streets are safe and we need to make sure our public transportation is reliable. We also need to preserve and enhance our green spaces and our parks. These are community gathering places, and we know how great it is to get outdoors. And then lastly, we need to make sure that we are providing job training and the jobs that provide people the resources that they need to support themselves and their families. My second priority is reinvestment and redevelopment. So there has been a lot of attention paid to the 494 corridor and South Loop, and I think that's great. But we also need to reinvest and redevelop in our neighborhood corridors where people live. We want to support small businesses in Bloomington. We want to have locally owned restaurants and breweries and distilleries, and so we need to make that happen. And my third priority as a candidate and as an elected official, if I have the opportunity to serve you, is to listen and learn from the Bloomington residents. I feel like this is critically important because I know that we have great ideas in our community and that people want to be engaged. So I want to work with you and I want to work with our city to increase the accessibility of our city and transparency in decision making. So with that, I will wrap it up. I can't wait to have conversations with you and learn about your ideas for how we can make Bloomington even better. And in the meantime, please visit my website, jennacartermn.com, or visit us on Facebook, Jenna Carter for Bloomington City Council, where we also have some meet and greets posted. So I want to wrap up with a very direct and explicit ask for your support. I ask for your vote on August 13th in this primary election and in the general election on November 5th. And one last very big thank you for being an engaged citizen, and also to the League of Women Voters for providing us this opportunity. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Brian Clem Clemens. I am running for City Council at large. A little bit about me. I was born and raised in Bloomington. I've lived here over 44 years. During that time, I've had to have tried to have a commitment to public service in Bloomington. I've been a Bloomington fireman for almost 20 years. I volunteer at my kids' schools. I help host national night out parties. And I really want to preserve the life that I had growing up in Bloomington for the next generation to come. I played BAA, and I want to see BAA get more support. I attended Bloomington schools. I attended 6 schools even though I never moved, and so I got to see a lot of the city. And I want to see changes happen that need to happen, but I also want to make sure that we're not having change for the sake of change. I want to assure that Bloomington traditions survive. And the first thing I want to make sure is that the people who built this city, my parents, my friends' parents, and your parents, have a place to go and hang out. I think that rebuilding the Creekside Community Center should be a top priority for us so that the seniors and the growing senior population have the service that they need from our city, a city that, frankly, they built, and I think we should thank them for that. Another part about the senior center, there's some talk about including it in the community center. I have concerns with the community center right now. I want to make sure the seniors get taken care of, but I want to make sure the community center doesn't end up at Valley View. I think we should work as a city to try and find a new location for the community center. I want to make sure that the firemen's softball tournament stays active. It's been going on for over 60 years, and last year raised over $60,000 for local charities, including the Bloomington Choir, which I participated in, as well as the Bloomington wrestling team. If you want to save firemen's, you need to vote Clem. Next, we can talk a little bit about affordable housing. I know that's a very hot topic these days, and yes, we absolutely need it. My business is they supply affordable housing to the city of Bloomington, but I do have concerns with the number of affordable units the Met Council's asked us to install in the next 10 years. They're looking for almost 900 units. Bloomington's decided at a 9% clip is about the right proportions for affordable housing. If 900 units, that would be 10,000 new units in Bloomington, and at almost 2 people per unit on average, that would be 20,000 new Bloomington residents. And while I welcome new people into our town, I also have concerns about the transportation in our town. It's hard enough to get to and from the west side of the east side of town and north to south, with changes in the number of lanes heading north and south, as well as an increased population. So while we need affordable housing, I want to make sure that it's done in balance with the rest of the city, and that we're being thoughtful about transportation as we look to add affordable housing. Revitalization of blighted buildings and areas within Bloomington is also something that I'm passionate about. I've worked on redevelopment projects with my businesses, and I want to see the city work closely with building owners to make sure that they can come up with short and long-term comprehensive plans to restore blighted buildings. If we can't come up with plans with business owners, then let's make sure that we consider those blighted areas as potentially good locations for the new community center. That doesn't take away existing amenities like Valley View Park. I want to make sure we support small business owners, the ones that come to our house and fix our plumbing and fix our houses. I want to make sure that we have a place for them to store their vehicles so they don't have to drive across the river in the morning after they've dropped their kids off at school, that they can just get in their truck and go, and make sure that we have the people we need to keep our city looking great within our town. Public safety is another great concern of mine. Being a long-term member of the volunteer fire department, I can tell you that the number and types of calls are getting higher and more complex, and I want to make sure that there's funding and staffing and tools and equipment available for the police and the fire department and the medics and Elena in town to take care of all the people that need services being offered by our town. And Bloomington's done a great job of keeping the budget down on emergency services. I'd like to see that continued, but make sure that we're doing it in a thoughtful manner. I also think we should research ways to improve job satisfaction and the compensation for people in our emergency medical services, and try to make sure that we can retain people that have those skill sets and encourage new people to go out and get the skill sets needed. So in short, I want to make sure that we support Bloomington and its traditions. I want to make sure that we're thoughtful with the way we spend money and with the planning around our city, and I want to make sure that we have all the things that we had growing up, BAA and quality schools that I had. So please, when it comes time for August 13th, consider me and vote Clem for City Council at large.
Hi, I'm Judy Galina, and I'm running for the at-large Bloomington City Council position. I was 10 years old when my family moved here, and of course Bloomington was a much smaller community at that time. Just a little walk down memory lane. At the time, the only stop sign in Bloomington was on the corner of 98th and Lyndale. And at that same corner, the bookmobile came once a month. So that was highly anticipated, and a person had to take their big container to get enough books to last for the month. 494 was 78th Street, and the Bloomington schools operated on 2 shifts because they couldn't keep up with the influx of new families and build the new schools quickly enough. As far as my professional background, I participated in the areas of human services and human resources. In the field of human services, I worked at VEEP as a staff member and at South Hennepin Human Services Council. In the area of human resources, I worked mainly at Northwest Airlines, now Delta, and the University of Minnesota. Since those early days that I noted above, Bloomington has emerged as one of the largest communities in Minnesota. We have great schools and a stable city government. People who have come to Bloomington have stayed here. According to the 2010 census demographics, the Bloomington population at that time was 85,000, and residents 62 years and older hovered around 30%, which is, I'm sure you'll agree, is a pretty big number. So we have an ever-increasing population of seniors, and I'm one of them. I am particularly interested in the lives and well-being of seniors in our community. What is the role of seniors here in Bloomington? What services are offered? What services are needed? What do seniors bring to our city? Beyond that particular subject of interest, I promise to address each issue facing Bloomington City Council with an open mind and the willingness to do the research needed to determine what is best for Bloomington residents. Thanks for your time, and remember to get out and vote.
Hi, citizens of Bloomington. My name is Larry Hotchkiss, and I'm here to serve you if you choose to vote for me. I've lived in this city since 1967 when I was born, and my parents were teaching in the Bloomington School District, and I've been around the world many times, and I ran in 2000 but while my dad had terminal lung cancer, I didn't have a lot of time to campaign, but I did enjoy it. But now I've got some time on my hands, 20 years in the Army, and currently in the Air Force, but I have a mild head injury from a little boxing with my son. So we'll be taking time and listening to the constituents. If you have any concerns whatsoever, please email it to me or let me know, and I'd be happy to listen to it. I love Bloomington. I think it's headed in the right direction. There's a few things where we could do a better job within our means without having to raise taxes at all, actually reducing taxes and giving the citizens a little more bang for their buck, in my opinion. And that's why I'm running for office. I'm an independent voter. I'm an independent candidate. I don't take money from any parties whatsoever. I'm self-employed. I own a company that's an aerospace company. If anybody's interested, you can look me up. So I don't have any real questions at the moment from citizens, except that they do have a lot of concerns about bikes overtaking the city, and I would agree on some things and disagree on some others. But you're more than welcome to give me a call. I'll be representing the whole city of Bloomington because it's an at-large position, and I would wish that you could vote for me so that I could make some changes, or at least give you a voice in the city council so that your voice can be heard. So short and sweet, I believe in Harry Truman's philosophy in politics, and that's the buck stops here, with me anyway. Not that I would have the power to do everything, but I would have the power to at least give it to the people in power and have them run with it. I'm a pro-supporter of veterans and immigrants and human rights, as independent, I don't have to answer to any party. I can answer to the people. So there you go. That's me.
Hello, I'm Councilmember Dwayne Loman. We only have a few minutes today to have a conversation about Bloomington's future. First, I want to thank the residents of Bloomington for electing me twice to be 1st District Council member. 40 years ago, my parents chose Bloomington. While my brother came here with them, my sister and I were born here in Bloomington, the city that I love. My mom served on the Housing Redevelopment Authority and worked on the Bloomington Public Schools on so many initiatives. She was a part of the Bloomington Together project that helped to build the Bloomington Clock Tower and was elected to the State Housing Commission for the state of Minnesota, working on affordable housing. We know that affordable housing is a regional issue, but we will do our part in Bloomington. My dad grew up on a farm in Savannah, Georgia, and was a Vietnam War era veteran. Together they owned a restaurant in that area near Bloomington. They taught each other and us children about the importance of community and hard work. Over these many years, they've accomplished much. Over these past 2 terms, we also have accomplished a great deal. Together, we have worked to ensure high quality services with our best in glass water and award-winning snow removal. We worked hard to strike a balance with low taxes and high quality services. And residents of the 1st District can be proud that we are just one of 2,000 municipalities in the United States with a AAA rating from all 3 bond rating agencies. I've had the opportunity to lead many efforts, including reforming the home loan program to allow more residents to take advantage of updating their homes. I've also been out front in the effort to create Sustainable Commission and to add a youth voice to that endeavor. Along with those 2 efforts, I've led the effort around improving citizen participation with our new engagement department, and our Learn to Lead initiative. There are so many programs and initiatives that we could talk about in the next few minutes, we wouldn't have time to cover all of them. But if you want to continue this conversation, feel free to give me a call at 952-270-2377. So, why did you choose to come to Bloomington? As we think about the future, what will it be like? That's what this conversation is all about, the future. We are focused on the future of Bloomington. We're continuing to cultivate a community of choice. I remember like it was yesterday. The principal came into our classroom and explained that unfortunately our teacher was exiting on 106th Street Bridge, and she had an accident and passed away. Now, so many years ago, or so many years later, we have finally been able to repair that bridge and update it and make it safe. In fact, now it's a safe route to school. Change takes time, and persistence is a must. It is in that same frame of mind that we must look at affordable housing. It is not about just building new affordable housing in Bloomington, it's about preserving what we have. And that's why I have joined the NOAA group, the Naturally Occurring Affordable Housing Task Force. We have a number of projects across Bloomington with affordable housing, but it's not just about rental housing, it's also about permanent housing for folks, and we are working towards that initiative as well. Finally, but not least, our community is aging, and we need to work towards focusing on renewing our infrastructure, our commercial areas and residential neighborhoods. More than 90% of our residential properties have been built in 1980s and before. We are seeing some encouraging signs though. 2 new restaurants have opened or are set to open in the Loman's Plaza area. North Star Tavern is a great place, and they're looking to add an outdoor patio. Bloomington truly is a community of choice. Finally, I would like to thank the residents of Bloomington for electing me twice as a city council member from Bloomington. And I am hoping for another term this fall. But my wife and I are becoming parents for the first time this fall. We are focused on the future as we cultivate a community of choice here in Bloomington. We wonder what it means for us as parents, but also what it means for all residents of Bloomington. You can find out more at www.dwaynealoman.com. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jonathan McClellan and I'm running to be your City Council member for District 1 here in Bloomington. I would like to thank the League of Women Voters for providing an opportunity for us to introduce ourselves, and I want to thank you for watching. My family and I have lived in Bloomington for over a decade. My children attend the Bloomington Public Schools. I have served on the Human Rights Commission for both Bloomington and Ridgefield, and the District Diversity Advisory Council for the Bloomington Public School District. I am a retired firefighter, and I graduated with honors from Community College in Business, with continued studies in fire science, hazmat, arson investigations, and legal writing and research. I graduated with my bachelor's degree from Metropolitan State University, magna cum laude, with a focus on community leadership, management, and pre-law. And I'm currently pursuing my Juris Doctorate. I also advance criminal justice reform, restorative justice, and public safety issues at the Capitol to create stronger communities. I'm running because I believe that it's time for Bloomington to chart a new course for our city, one that focuses on respect and dignity and authentic listening and engagement, where we actually tackle the issues that befall us, not just use them as buzzwords during an election cycle, where you get real answers to your questions from your elected leaders about policy within our city, and this means honest transparency. This election is an opportunity for the residents of Bloomington to reclaim our city. This election is about community, families, our future, inclusion and equity. It's about our relationships with neighboring cities, our small businesses. It's about a local government that serves the people and not special interests or self-interest. It's about meeting people where they're at in life and uplifting them and not trying to tear them down or putting barriers in the way. It's about keeping promises. It is not about a political agenda ahead of real needs. It is about serving the community by having vision and leading. As a firefighter, I have worked with some amazing people. I've seen and done some amazing things. Once you've earned the title of firefighter, it means something. It means that I will be there for you on your worst day. It means that I will protect you and your family no matter the personal cost. It means keeping a strong character in the face of weak ones and doing what's right and creating a future where we all succeed together. What I've been hearing in the community is what I have based my platform on, and that's real affordable housing, infrastructure, protecting our green spaces, livable wage jobs, transparency, and fiscal responsibility. Some of the most popular policy within my vision are renewable energy, affordable internet, and affordable housing. If you've driven by my home, chances are you've seen the solar on my roof, and the savings and the benefits to the environment are real. And we can, as a city, do more to reduce carbon emissions and provide this benefit and access to our Bloomington residents. As we think of the future and about sustainability, we have to recognize that the internet is no longer a luxury item. It is a utility, and the benefits to the community and the city as a whole are huge. Fiber optic internet has the ability to help sustain our city, benefit our schools, uplift families, and help our small businesses. As more people look to stay in Bloomington and call Bloomington home, we are in a crisis around housing. Many cities in our metro area and state face this national crisis. We, as a city, have to get it right, and that does not mean sacrificing one of our most sacred assets, our green spaces. We have to be honest about what affordable housing is and what it is not. If elected as your partner and council member, I am confident in the relationships I've built over the years at our Capitol and in our communities to help us overcome these challenges. And we can be a leader in the metro area on housing. You can view more of my vision for Bloomington by visiting www.mcclellanforbloomington.com. Together we can create a Bloomington where we all thrive. I ask you for your support, and if you live in District 1, I ask you for your vote in the primary on August 13th, and again on November 5th. Again, I would like to thank the League of Women Voters for their commitment to our city. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Eleanor Nord. I'm running for City Council in District 1. As a lifelong resident and owner of a business located in Bloomington, I have strong ties to the city. My wife of 23 years and I grew up in Bloomington and attended Bloomington Public Schools. We both graduated from Kennedy High School. Our oldest child just graduated from Kennedy, and our youngest will graduate next year. When I was contemplating running, I would tell people I was thinking of running for city council, and they would answer with why, but it was more of a why, and that is what finally made my decision. For the most part, I think the council has done an adequate job running the city, as so much as funding police and fire, upkeep of roads, and redevelopment of aging parts of the city. The area I feel needs improvement is the representation of the working class citizen, the very people whose property taxes pay for a large portion of the city's budget. These are the people I want to represent, the ones far too often find out about a new regulation or a large spending project that most of us don't want or believe is needed. We want to be engaged and informed, but after a long day of work, most people just want to come home, have dinner with their family, which more times than not isn't even possible because the kids have sporting events and other activities. So going to a city council meeting just becomes one more thing we have to put on the back burner. We just hope that we have people in the council that are looking out for our best interest, but they so often do not seem to have our best interests at heart. I want to be that voice. I look forward to working with the council to try to ease some burdensome regulations and to entice more manufacturing jobs to the city, which have higher paying
jobs, and attract more people to the city to live. I'm Eleanor Nord, a common sense voice for Bloomington.
Be sure to vote in the primary election on or before August 13th. To learn more about voting and registering to vote, go to the Minnesota Secretary of State's website, mnvotes.org.